What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John back again, and this is your transfer roundup. Everton have been incredibly busy throughout deadline day. They have signed...
No one.
He's done it. Well done, John. Well done. We're not doing a transfer video because it's absolutely pointless. But just so you know, earlier today, Mason Holgate's contract with Southampton was terminated, and he will be joining Sheffield United for the remainder of the season. We wish him all of the best in the Premier League with Sheffield United. It worked out so well for another former Everton player who is there right now. Anyway, John, we talk about the Spurs game this weekend. It's Everton against Spurs, Goodison Park, 12:30 kickoff, ferocious, aggressive. Are we going to win?
I don't want to start the video on a negative footing, but no, I don't think so. To be fair, listen, the tough games keep coming, and they're getting tougher and tougher and tougher with the run of fixtures we've got coming up. This is no easier, you know. I look at Tottenham as a team. They're very, very good going forward. They score goals, but they also concede. The problem we've got, Michael, is we don't score. So I don't think they're going to have much to worry about conceding many in this game. It is going to be tough. Again, listening to the manager's press conference today, the closest player we've probably got coming in compared to the last game where it was a makeshift team, which, you know, in hindsight, a point away at Fulham with a patched up team is a good result. Looks like Idrissa Gana guy will be the only one who could possibly make it. He's flying back in tomorrow from the African nations. Will he be, you know, fit and ready to play on Saturday after travelling? I'm unsure. But listen, if it is, again, it's going to be a patched up team. Listening to the manager today, he possibly comes in for Ashley Young into the midfield. Apart from that, you know, Dan Juma's out. I haven't got a clue what we're going to do. I hope you can give me some ideas of how we're going to set up, because Dan Juma's out. You know, we haven't got many coming back. I hope you've got more of an idea than me.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's going to go with Pickford in goal. He's going to go with Mikalenko, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, Godfrey, Young. Then in midfield, he's going to go with Wow Virginia alongside. I mean, to be honest, John, in terms of the midfield, I mean, it genuinely could be a car crash because, you know, with no Dan Juma, it probably means McNeil needs to go back to the left-hand side. Now, is this a game where you start Dobbin? I'll probably say yes, because we've got no other option, but it's a big game to throw the poor young lad into, you know, Spurs, tough team. But, you know, I say why not? So, for me, you know, I obviously don't pay well Virginia in the midfield, but for me, I'd go with that back four. I stick Ashley Young in the middle alongside James Garner. I go with McNeil and Harrison. And I do play Dobbin. I do play Dobbin just off Calvert, just off Beto. I don't play Calvert-Lewin. I play Beto. And the reason why I play Dobbin is I actually think this is a perfect game for him. I know it's a big call, but he's got that pace. And the one thing about Spurs is they play this really aggressive brand of football. You know, quick pressing, forward thinking. But they can be exposed at the back, and you just sink one of these nice little balls through from, I don't know, anyone that can actually make more than a 25-yard pass. You think that Lewis Dobbin might just run onto it, and I'm not saying, look, he's going to score and he's going to set the world on fire sort of thing, but he might cause some problems. And unless you're going to give him a go, what's the point? As you rightly said, he should be banging on the manager's door. There's no other wingers in that sense. There's no Takeover. I think he's got to come in for me personally. He's got to have a decent amount of minutes.
And this is what I said there. Tottenham do tend to play the high line as well, Michael. I watched them last night. You know, Sheffield United 3-1 up, then it comes to 3-2, but they're still pushing, and they don't know. I was listening to Talk Sport today, and they were quite right what they said on the radio. That they don't really know how to close games out, so they are vulnerable to concede goals, as you quite rightly say. you can get in behind Tottenham. And again, I agree with you. It's not as if Dobbin's going to score. But if we can get in behind them, when you've got someone up front with a bit of pace like Dobbin has, it will allow the wingers to push up as well and get in there and help them out and put pressure on their back line. But listen, a tough game. You've got some really, really good players. I'm not going to say his surname, so I'll just call him Ange because I don't know how to say it. He's done really well since he's come in. You know, the fourth in the league. Look where we are in the league. It's going to be a tough game. Everton will have to be at their very best, a lot better than what we've been in recent weeks to get anything out this game.
Yeah, and the other thing, my friend sent me a copy of the form table, and I think Everton are bottom. So Everton, in contrast, have gone from being top to bottom in about 12 games. And you know, funny enough, it did all stem from that Fulham game at Goodison Park. Before that game, we were playing quite well, and after that game, we've sort of fallen off the edge of the planet.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think when you look at the anonymous, and then you look at the game we played after that, you could see it absolutely zapped a lot out the confidence that players had. And also, Michael, it zapped, you know, the excitement the fans had, because I think since that game, and I've said this to you, there's no atmosphere at Goodison that, you know, the fans are struggling to get up for it. I said that about the game midweek the other week. You know, they go on about this atmosphere under the Goodison Park floodlights. Well, I haven't seen it for quite a while now, and it has stemmed from that anonymous, and we need to get it back, because I've said on here, you know, whether we get points back, I'm starting to really worry now, because Luton are hitting form. You know, Forest are capable of getting a result. Palace got one the other night. I think the bottom two teams have gone. We need to start picking points up from somewhere, because we've got an awful run of games coming up where, let's be honest about it, most Evertonians will agree, I don't fancy us to get many points out these games coming up. So we have to make these home games count. We've got City away to come. We've got Brighton away. We've got Chelsea away. I think Everton are capable of getting something at Chelsea, and I think we're capable of getting something at Man U. But if we don't, we need to make these home games count. We've got West Ham coming up at home. So we've got Tottenham and West Ham. We've got to get something, because if we don't start getting it, the longer this run goes on, 1 win in 8, the confidence that's left, and I don't think there's much left, it'll just carry on ebbing away. So, and again, I said this, you know, psychologically, when you're in that bottom three, it's hard, it's tough, because that's where we've dropped into now. The players need to be up for it. I think the manager's got to do well with his substitutions. I think he's got to make them earlier when he can. I think he's got to make changes better. I think he's got to make better changes. So it all comes into one. The fans need a lift. But listen, us as fans as well need to get behind the team, because they need us at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some of them fixtures, right? Now we know for, you know, I'm just going to have a little look at the table as if the home table. So let me just have a little look at how we've performed at home. At home this season, Everton have lost 6 games. They've won 3 and they've drew 2. We're in the bottom 3 on points. So that's even before the points deduction. We're in the bottom 3 for home form. Now, when you flip that and you go away, Everton are 6th, 5th, actually 5th. Now, when you look at the fixtures we've got coming up, we're going away to some pretty difficult places. So we're going to have to change it. We're going to have to get home wins. And we've struggled. So, yeah, you know, this game against Spurs, you know, although, you know, we're making jokes about it, and look, neither of us think Everton are going to win. We need to. We need to, because the games we've thrown away at home, and by thrown away, and this is no disrespect to any of these teams, but on paper at the start of the season, I would have said Everton would have at least got a point. Fulham, Wolves, Luton. There's 9 points.
Yeah.
9 points. And those 3 teams, and this is not derogatory to any of them, but I'm pretty sure Everton would be above all of those teams if we had them 10 points. And you rightly say, look, forget about it. We haven't. We should have took 9 more points than we have. Or at worst, 3, as in 3 draws. But we didn't. We didn't do it. And now we're going into games against teams like Spurs, against West Ham at home, against Liverpool at home. We've got to win these difficult games. We've got to win the harder games to replace the points we've lost on top of the 10.
2 points. 2 points. One, it's unbelievable how our home form has dipped from what it used to be, and our away form was shocking to what you've just quite rightly said. Our away form is a lot better. A lot better. And the second one is when you've got the likes of Luton, and I've said it and I'll say it again, probably going to be fighting with Luton and the likes of Crystal Palace and Forest for that, probably not to get that third bottom. Forget the points for the minute. When you've got games like that coming up at home, if you don't get anything, because it's going to be difficult to get anything from the away games, you start to become adrift. And that's the problem we have. When you start becoming adrift of the teams above you, because Luton are very capable of putting performances in and picking up points. As I said before, Palace won the other night. Yes, it's squeaky bum time then, Michael. And this is why I keep saying, even if we get half the points back, I still worry. Because we haven't got a goal scorer. We haven't got someone in the team who you could... How many players in that team, Michael, if you were a better man, would you go into the bookies on a match day and have 20 quid on a first goal scorer?
None of them.
And think, yeah, I'm going to win some money today. You wouldn't, exactly. You wouldn't. And this is the problem we've got. We haven't got, how many goals between them? I know Calvert-Lewin's been out for a while. I know Beto hasn't played much.
Are you going to say about the strikers?
Yeah, how many goals have our strikers scored between them?
I don't know the exact amount. I think it might be 4, maybe 5. But what I do know is it's 1 less than Neil Mulpay, who, by the way, still to this day, and I don't care what anyone says, he was awful at Everton. And I don't care whether people say he's better than what we've got. He's not. Like, he's honest to God, I'd put John up front over Neil Mulpay so he can stick that dart right where he wants to. All right.
But the facts of the matter are, he scored 4 goals this season. Now, is it he's fallen lucky? Is it because obviously before Tony come back, he was probably their most recognised striker? Is it because Brentford play a different way to the way Everton were playing? I don't know. He's a poor striker. The facts of the matter are, Michael, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 goals he scored this season. Compare that to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto combined. This is why we are in the position we're in. I seen a stat yesterday, and I think Everton are 3rd out of the top 5 leagues in Europe for XG, expected goals. 3rd. That just proves how many chances we're creating. Unfortunately, we're not taking them. And I've said this on here before, and I'll say it again. XG doesn't win your game, so I couldn't care less if we're 3rd out the top 5 teams, 5 leagues in Europe. I don't care. The ball hitting the back of net is the thing that matters. So that stat means nothing to me, but when it proves that you are creating chances, it just proves how poor our forwards are. I actually think we have the worst strike force in the Premier League.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to argue against because I'm pretty sure at Sheffield United, I'm pretty sure their strikers have more goals than our strikers. I'm trying to think of a team that has less from a combined striking, whatever.
Force.
Yeah. John, I'm struggling. I just want to go back onto the fixtures a little bit. Now, look, yeah, as you said, we've got Spurs this week. We've got Man City next week. I would be delighted if we get 1 point out of both of those games. We've then got Palace at Goodison, which is a game that, in my opinion, Everton have to win.
Should be winning.
We should be winning, yeah. We've then got Brighton away. Tough place, but with the way we've played away from home this season, we could get a point. Don't get me wrong, we could lose, but we could get a point. We've then got West Ham at home. Difficult game. I think they've turned into a good side. Calvin Phillips coming in. I think West Ham are better now than they were when we played them at the London Stadium. We've then got Manchester United away, which are not pulling up any trees whatsoever, but they did smash us 3-0 at Goodison. We've then got Liverpool at home, which it's
write it off now.
Yeah,
personally.
I hate that. But then we move into a period where there is games that Everton, in my opinion, should be winning. So let me just go through these. 6th of April, this starts. Everton against Burnley at Goodison. A game that Everton should win. Chelsea away. Depending what Chelsea turn up. But Everton, as of right now, were more than capable of getting a point. Everton Forest, again, a game Everton at Goodison should win. Everton Brentford, again, a game that, in my opinion, as of right now, Everton should win at Goodison. Luton away, difficult, but should get a point. Everton against Sheffield United, Everton should win. So, in my opinion, between April the 6th and May the 11th, Everton have probably got 6, maybe 5 games where you would say there's 15 points for grabs.
See, you use the word should a lot there. Right.
Yeah.
Now, by that point of that run of easier fixtures, let's just say, we've got some horrendous ones before it. So I will go back to what I said before. We have to start picking some sort of points up from a couple of these difficult fixtures, i.e. a point at Tottenham, a point at West Ham at home, because
3 points at the Etihad.
Yeah, but if we don't, I go back to becoming adrift of the teams above us, because while we're not picking up many points against these difficult teams, if we don't, that easy run of fixtures is not going to mean anything if we become that far adrift. Hence why I say these home games we've got, which are quite difficult in the next period, sandwiched between Brighton away and we've got City away next week, we've got Tottenham, we've got the West Ham game at home. We have to start picking up points, hopefully against the likes of the Tottenhams and the West Hams at home. Because that run of fixtures, as you've pointed out there, Michael, the easier runs at home won't count for nothing if we're cut adrift.
Yeah.
So we need to find some way in this team of playing the right formation, the right players to turn this XG into goals. I don't know how we do it, because I'll go back to what I said before. I honestly think we've got the worst strike force in the Premier League.
Do you based on the games that we've got, and obviously Decore has had his injury and he appears to be nursing 5 injuries, would you be tempted to give him Tottenham? Well, he's definitely not in for Tottenham, but would you be tempted to let him have Man City out as well?
Well, apparently he's training on the grass, as Sean Dyche's favourite phrase and quote go, he's on the grass I think the way Sean Dyche has been acting lately, I think he's been smoking the grass. I wouldn't rush him back. I wouldn't rush him back, only for the simple fact of the matter. You, me, and a lot of Everton fans probably don't give as much of a chance at Man City. So, and deep down, and I know a manager shouldn't think like this, but they probably do. Let's be honest about it. Deep down, Sean Dyche will probably go there not expecting much. He wouldn't be human if he was thinking we could go there, you know, and put a performance in and, you know, come away with 3 points. I'd like to think he's thinking, well, I won't risk him for that game because we've got important games after that where we've got more of a chance of getting points. So if he's only just out on the pitch at Finch Farm, training on the grass, I'd just give him another 2 games out and not rush him back, and then use him for the fixtures after that, which are a bit easier, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, because the only reason I say that is we've got Crystal Palace in essentially 2 games' time at Goodison Park on Monday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. That's a game that, as you rightly say, Everton under the lights. That's a game where the fans need to go there, in my opinion, and absolutely nail it. You know, really back the team. If Takeover is back, that would be great. A great addition into the team. And you know,
what?
You go in,
sorry to interrupt. What date's that? I'll tell you why I'm asking.
It's the 19th of February.
Right. So by the 19th of February, probably just before that fixture, we're probably going to know the result of the appeal.
Correct.
Right.
And
so,
the takeover.
Well, yeah. So if the appeal goes our way, the fans are going to get a massive lift. The club as a whole will get a massive lift. The players will get a massive lift. Now, if it happens just before that Crystal Palace game, Crystal Palace at home is an ideal opportunity for the fans to find their voices again, for the players to get lifted for the occasion, and to really go at Crystal Palace. So that appeal result, if it goes our way, is coming just before, in my opinion, a massive, massive game.
Yeah, I completely agree, John. You're absolutely spot on. Score prediction?
2-0 to Tottenham.
Agreed. And I know we said 2-0 to Fulham midweek, and we got that wrong. So look, we're obviously not experts, but I
think Tottenham are a bit better than Fulham. To be fair, no disrespect.
Yeah, well, it's no disrespect. They are head and shoulders above Fulham.
Yeah,
and we've lost to Fulham twice this season. So, yeah, okay. Well, look, I'll leave it there. I've got some breaking news to share that's literally just come up on my phone. Everton are completing the signing of Argentinian superstar Lionel Messi.
yeah, and that's his son.
Yeah, Lionel, not Lionel, Lionel.
Yeah,
more like it's really messy. That's
we've got more chance of signing Lionel Blair instead of Lionel Messi.
Just to mention one last thing, just before we cut off. Obviously, me and you had quite an in-depth conversation earlier about 777 and takeovers. I'll give you my opinion. I think the takeover happens probably mid-Feb. Will you be happy with that?
Will I be happy with the takeover?
Yeah.
In an ideal world, no. But listen, I've said it 10 times. I'll say it again. It's the only option we have. 777 at the minute are the only option we have. They've just put another £30 million into the Goodison Park coffers. I think I think they know deep down. I don't know whether they'll have had wind of the decision that's going to be coming their way, a positive decision for them. I think they do come in. But listen, I'm not saying they're going to give us stability, but we'll know who owns the club. We'll know who's running the club. They're going to bring their own people in because we don't hear from Mashiri anymore. He's gone missing off the face of the earth. He's having nothing to do with the football club. And this 777, I think it works out now, is 160 million, 200 million pound they've put into the club. Listen, you don't put that much money in if you're not expecting a positive outcome for yourself. Am I happy with 777 coming in? Not whatsoever. We've all read what this group of people are like, but I will say it again. Listen, they're not going to bring stability to the club how we want stability to the club, but they'll bring a bit more than what's there at the minute because there is none. Sean Dyche doesn't know who his boss is. We don't know who's putting the money into the stadium. We don't know who Kevin Thelwell and Sean Dyche have to answer to because it's a makeshift board. So, listen, I think they know the decision's going to go their way. We have to take it on the chin and just see how it goes with this group of people. Said to Michael today, I don't think they're going to be there long. Michael explained something to me today, what he thinks is going to happen when 777 get involved. And it's the best we can hope for. And I think the way Michael was putting it across, I don't think it'll turn out. If Michael's right and it does turn out like this, I don't think it will be as bad as what we're all thinking it will be. 777 only a long term. It's short term, probably 2 years. And I think they will look at selling the club for a quick profit. If that's the case, and we're still in the Premier League and they don't sell us down the road, then I think we're just going to have to put up with that for the next couple of years if this group of people come in.
Yeah, let me just explain what I think will happen. Now, look, I am not a financial expert, and there is much better people, even on Twitter, than me at this, but this is just my opinion. Looks like they've invested about 100 and I think I've read different figures, but it's either 160 or 190 in million pounds into Everton over the last 5 months. But that actually means that Farhad Mashiri hasn't had to, because fundamentally he's the owner, he would put that money in. So the fact that he hasn't meant that money stays in his back pocket. So by that, it essentially means he's being paid because somebody else is putting the money in for him. It's easy to think of it like that. That 190 million that 777 have already put into Everton was simply changing to shares upon completion of the transfer, the takeover. So fundamentally, there won't be an owing. Essentially, they're paying for the club now. They're paying monthly for it, basically. They're Klarna paying it. What I think will then happen is obviously as the construction work on the new stadium changes, whether it's been paid up front, the monthly payments on those loans, they're going to have to be managed until the stadium officially opens, where, in my opinion, it can be refinanced into probably one large mortgage over the period of, say, 100 years, a reasonable interest rate, rather than the lending criteria that is probably closer to 10%. Now, if you think of paying 10% of 760 million, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and that goes essentially against your profit and loss figures. So I think and I suspect that when the stadium is built, money will be taken out, machinery will be completely paid off. So that will be another probably 300 million. And I think what will happen then is your creditors like AJ Bell, they'll either become a small shareholder within Everton, or they will have their £100 million back, plus a little bit of interest. Any other investment groups that have got stakes in Everton will either be paid off, or their loans will be turned into equity within Everton Football Club. So I thoroughly suspect that come May, come December, the financial outlook for Everton is going to look a lot better, because we're going to know where we're going. We're going to know what's happening. the biggest bravado to that is Everton have to be a Premier League club, because fundamentally, if Everton aren't a Premier League club, they're going to have a massive problem in terms of sustainability and making payments in the Championship, because fundamentally it's the Premier League money that is helping pay for all of this, along with these £30 million loans every month. So Everton, without the Premier League money and that big chunk of money at the start of the year, would be in absolute shit creek. Now, the problem with that is if they get relegated, they don't get it. And that is, they get parachute payments, which is like 70% of it. It would be detrimental to Everton beyond belief. So as long as Everton are a Premier League club, I do suspect there'll be a fire sale in August, but I think it'll be a controlled fire sale to generate funds to develop the team. So they'll sell Branthwaite for 80 million, 100 million. They'll sell Onana for 50 million, 60 million. They'll sell players like Neil Maupay. Andre Gomez will be off the books. Decore will be offered a new deal if he's on. I can't remember if his deal runs out or they've extended it. Yeah, whatever it is. You will see that there'll be players that will be moved on, and this will allow Sean Dyche, with the money that comes in from these transfers, to move in the transfer market. And I am absolutely convinced that come this time next year, as long as Everton are a Premier League club, the future is bright. We just got to get there. We've just got to get there by the scruff of our neck if we have to, but we've got to get there.
Yeah, I think, as you quite rightly say, we've got to be in the Premier League. If we're not, it changes massively. So basically what you're trying to say there is, if Moshiri wants £500 million for the club, and they've given they've put £200 million into the club, it's like paying him off instead of one lump sum.
He's already had, because he's
200 million, so he's owed 300 million.
Yeah, and that can easily be done when the stadium is completed. Like that's easy.
Well, you've got naming rights to come in for the stadium as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So look, there's loads of positives. There really is. Everton just have to be a Premier League team. So look, I'm ending on a positive note. I'm not ending on a negative. Look, it is a bit of a storm at the minute. You know, we're swirling around. We don't know what direction we're going. It's very easy to be down. It's very easy to think about administration and all of this stuff. But I'm fairly convinced that 777 probably already know that they've got Premier League approval. I'm pretty sure there's been something put in place where essentially it's not going to get announced until after the January transfer window. So there's no pressure on them to come in and, you know, try and make a signing to make everyone happy, or try and do things in a very difficult situation. I think it's just a case of they'll come in mid-February, and I think they'll push the club forward. They are not great people to have in your club, but as John,
they're better than what we've got now.
They're better than what we've got. So look, guys, we'll leave it there. Keep smiling. Up the toffees. We're going to beat Spurs 4-0, even though I've predicted we're going to lose 2-0. John agrees with me as well. It's a Calvert-Lewin hat-trick, followed by a Beto header from 60 yards out. We're going to win the lot. We're going to win the lot. We're going to get the 10 points back, and then we're going to be playing in Europe next season, no doubt about it. So keep smiling. Let's keep going. Get behind the team, and let's hope that Sean Dyche makes a substitution on the 60th minute this week. Peace.